Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Jim Master as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Anah. The title of this video is Madness and Confusion. And basically, that's what I got from this United Nations meeting and everyone else got from this United Nations meeting. I would assume, because according to this article, people walked out when Benjamin Netanyahu, took stage to talk about whatever he was talking about, So I didn't really look into it too much, but we have the pact. Let me see. So, New York 2024 Summit of the Future. This is brought to you by United Nations. It says Summit of the Future Outcome Documents, September 2024. It says Pact for the Future Global Digital Compact and Declaration on Future Generations. So what they're saying is going digital, and we're telling you what the future is going to look like for the rest of our generations. What's to come, basically. And basically, just like the men of the Lord have always been saying, starting from, of course, Elder Abel Bivens, and ultimately now Elder Apostle Tahar, the men of GMS, coming from One West, but now the men of GMS, Great Millstone, and the men on down have been saying is that the RFID chip will be implemented, pursuant to Revelations 13 and 16. And this is basically what this is about. Pact for Future Global Digital. Right, the world is going digital. Everything is going digital. That's why you're going to have CBDC, central bank digital currencies. That's why you have things like augmented reality, virtual reality, goggles, glasses, you know, all these different things. I think even a small snippet of that was one time you had a game on your phone. It was like Pokemon Go or something. Niggas was losing their mind, right? You have to go find all the Pokemons. You have to use your phone. It could be a Pokemon sitting on somebody's shoulder, and you got to capture it, through your phone. So that's the type of future that these people are going to. They have these things with the glasses where you can have a whole computer screen in front of you while you're, and you can see, though. You can see behind the computer screen while you have the goggles on. You got a computer screen and use your hands to touch the computer, but you can still see. I seen one dude driving a Tesla Cybertruck with the goggles on, and like some type of sleeping nightgown, nightgown like a robe, and like some boxers and stuff, like the long pants, whatever, the plaid pants. Anyway, the world is going crazy. This future, this digital age. Anyway, getting back to it. This is the Summit of the Future Outcome document. It says world leaders adopt a pact for the future that includes a global digital compact and a declaration on future generations. The pact covers a broad range of themes, including peace and security, which is what we're going to get into. And everyone is upset about that because they're talking about these while complete chaos is going on in the world. And I I don't know if it anyway, which sustainable development, climate change, digital cooperation, human rights, gender, youth, and future generations, and the transformation of global governance. They basically want a new world order, and all of these different things for control. So the point of confusion for me is, we'll get it right here. The document, 66 pages. Okay, they zoomed out. This was zoomed in. They zoomed out for me. So it's kind of small. We zoom in. So this is the part right here. So you can see it says, starting from international peace and security. Action 13, Action 14, we'll read some of these, right? So I'm going to merge this over. It says we will, starting from 13, we will redouble our efforts to build and sustain peaceful, inclusive, and just societies and address the root causes of conflicts. 14, it says we will protect all civilians in armed conflict. We will ensure that people affected by humanitarian emergencies receive the support they need. We will promote cooperation and understanding between member states, diffuse tensions, seek the pacific settlement of disputes, and resolve conflicts. We will we will fulfill our obligation to comply with the decisions and uphold the mandate of the International Court of Justice in any case to which our state is a party. We will build and sustain peace. We will accelerate the implementation of our commitments on women, peace, and security. And this, is based because they have their women, in their, in their business of what they're doing, right? So they have to put that in there basically, so the women don't feel left out. I guess I don't know. Anyway, it says we will accelerate the implementation of our commitments on youth, peace, and security. We will adopt peace operations to better respond to existing challenges and new realities. We will address the serious impact of threats to maritime security. It says we will pursue a future free from terrorism. We will prevent and combat transitional organized crime and related illicit financial flows. Yeah, they're gonna stop that with that digital currency that will be tracked. So that, you know, yeah, and basically this just goes to that RFID chip that, being tracked and controlled, cutting things off, because how, most of these things you'll need money and things like that, and once they control it, you can't do these different things. This one says we will advance the goal of a world free of nuclear weapons. Well, we will uphold our dis disarmament obligations and commitments. Anyway, so this is madness and confusion because this is everything they're talking about at these general assembly gatherings. But then you have what's happening in the world currently between Israel's war on Gaza. So it says UN General Assembly 2024, diplomats walk out in protest against Netanyahu's address. And I mean, with everything that you're trying to, solve and fix, I can see why. Because this guy does not give a fuck about none of that, obviously. It says diplomats walk out on Israeli Prime Minister's speech at UN to protest against devastating war on Gaza and latest attacks on Lebanon. So they're saying peace and safety in this thing right here. Meanwhile, total war is happening and World War III is on the way, right? Because the least of flock, that being Israel, is going to draw out Babylon the Great over to where he's attacking it and all of that. So, and once we read this article, you'll see that he doesn't intend on stopping anything, pretty much. Some of these people probably want to walk out. They just didn't. They probably, put on their headphones or something and start writing on books, went on their phone, play Pokemon Go or something. It says, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaks to a half-empty United Nations General Assembly in New York City on September 27, 2024. Right? It says scores of diplomats walked out on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech at the United Nations General Assembly on Friday in protest against the devastating war on Gaza and the latest Israeli attacks on Lebanon. Several diplomats could be seen walking out in haste as Netanyahu entered the Great Hall to speak from the Postodium, whatever stadium. It says with the preceding diplomat having to shout order please as the Israeli leader took to the stage. The war on Gaza, now approaching its 1 year mark, has turned much of the enclave into an inhabitable hellscape. And I mean that has to be intentional because they showed us plans of New Gaza, where it was like all advanced and you know, it's yeah. So let me just keep going with that. It says the war on Gaza, now approaching its 1 year mark, has turned much. Matter of fact, I'll look for it. Um, plans new. There's, yeah, right here. Someone said it's awful. It says the awful plan to turn Gaza into the next Dubai. The Netanyahu administration seems to have learned from neighboring petrostates that spectacle can distract from ethnic cleansing. Anyway, this is what they want to turn Gaza into. So I can see why, most of it is destroyed now, which we'll get into. Let's see. I don't know. No, that's not. We don't need that. It says few places in the world face a more uncertain future than Gaza, where famine looms and 37,000 Palestinians have been killed in the course of Israel's brutal retaliation for the October 7th Hamas attack. But in May, the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly unveiled a still unconfirmed plan for the region dubbed Gaza 2035. So, someone can fact check. I'm not going to fact check that. I've seen it before. I'm saying it again. Let's look at it. We got this one. So even if it's not the city, they still want control of that area. And I mean, if they want control of it, I do assume they plan to rebuild it. All right, so you know, I mean, he plans to do something with that area. But anyway, it says the war on Gaza, now approaching its 1 year mark, has turned much of the enclave into an uninhabitable hellscape. More than 42,000 people have been killed. Almost the entire population are reported to have fled their homes at least once, and those in northern Gaza are on the verge of famine. So this goes completely against everything that they're mentioning here in their international peace and security segment. You know, it says, meanwhile, whole neighborhoods and families have been erased, with homes, schools, and hospitals devastated by airstrikes and tank fire. Despite the bloodbath, Israel has sought to expand the war, and in the past week, has been relentlessly bombing Lebanon, killing more than 700 people, including scores of women and children. Visibly angry due to the mass walkout. And the thing is, you women, you know, you're emotional, and you wasn't meant to be over men in like leadership and ruling. You know, this would be like the business of men. You know, regarding like everything that's happening. But in society, Esau, Edom, has turned things upside down, and women are in positions of power, you know, and in the wrong positions of power, because you could have position of powers, over the children, and over other areas that contain to you, but not of like ruling and things like that, like what Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. I mean, come on, look at United States of America. A woman president hasn't happened, and why is that? Why has it never happened? Why hasn't a woman? I mean, you had Hillary Clinton. I don't remember any others, but what happened? So anyway, it says, visibly angry due to the mass walkout, Netanyahu defended his response to the 7th October Hamas attacks on southern Israel and the recent escalatory attacks on Lebanon. Israel has every right to remove this threat and return our citizens to their homes safely. And that's exactly what we're doing, Netanyahu said. We will not rest until the remaining hostages are brought home. Netanyahu's speech was also replete with dire warnings that there could be more carnage to come. And that's his intentions. It says, I have a message for the tyrants of Tehran. If you strike us, we will strike you. He said there is no place in Iran that the long arm of Israel cannot reach, and that's true of the entire Middle East, right? Where World War III will take place. So they're mapping the destruction in Gaza, right? And people are upset. That's why these individuals walked out, and it goes against everything that they're trying to talk about in this peace and security segment here. Basically, the whole Gaza Strip is destroyed. It says total structures in Gaza, and they destroyed more than half of it already. And he's giving you dire warnings. Well, not to Gaza Strip, but tensions between Israel and Iran have been on the rise since Israel attacked Iran's embassy complex in Damascus earlier this year and assassinated Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. It says, we're at war with Hezbollah, he said. Let me actually read this. It says, throughout the week, world leaders have been calling for an end to the fighting, with several of them, including U.S. President Joe Biden, reiterating calls for a ceasefire. Netanyahu, however, seemed to pour cold water on the idea, telling the UN that his military would keep striking Lebanon with all our might. Again, what's happening, with this peace and security. It says, we're at war with Hezbollah, he said. As long as Hezbollah chooses the path of war, Israel has no choice. And Israel has every right to remove this threat and return our citizens to their homes safely. And I mean, there's been talks of peace deals and people accepting peace deals, people not accepting peace deals. So it's madness and confusion. Let's listen to this.
هون ما مبين شيء هون اخوان هياها قدامي هياها صاب المخيمات هون على هيدا على العاملين مخيم البرد هياها.
So I don't know what Benjamin Netanyahu was there, what he was doing, but I guess he went there to say that he's not going to stop. It says 2 hours after Netanyahu spoke, Israeli fighter jets carried out a series of airstrikes, in Lebanon, a densely populated area. So basically, while this man is talking at the UN, they're still attacking, They're at war. So that's pretty much it. That was just a blowing up the trumpet regarding this peace deal, this international peace and security pact that they're trying to bring out, and it goes against everything, that's currently happening right now, especially with Benjamin Netanyahu who's speaking there. Anyway, First Thessalonians 5 and 1, it says, "But of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shai so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Right. So, and what is that? What is that destruction that's going to come upon them? World War III. They're trying to talk about peace, and World War III is brewing. Because of what's happening. Revelations 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. That third woe is World War III. And we understand Jeremiah 50 and 45. It says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, that he have taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations." Right? And least of the flock is being Israel. We can clearly see this. Israel is on a warpath. They don't plan on stopping. As they're telling the UN, as their UN General Assembly, as Benjamin Netanyahu is speaking, telling the UN General Assembly that we're going to continue on as they talks of international peace and security. Pact for the future. So it's a simple blowing of the trumpet. With that, I'll say Shalom to the elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.